Imposter syndrome. We have all been there, we have all experienced her, and doesn't she just show up exactly when we don't need her the most? In this video, I'm going to give you a few quick tips just about how to overcome imposter syndrome, specifically if you are an online course creator or an expert who's going out there to share your message. And imposter syndrome, bless her, comes along and shakes us up. Now, the most important thing when you're getting started is to make sure that you are looking at the right things. Too often, imposter syndrome creeps up upon us because we are thinking about all of the things that we don't yet know how to do, or that we can't yet explain, or that we don't yet have the full suite of knowledge to, rather than looking at all of the massive abundance of things that we do know and we can do. So the first thing I want to share with you is that it is absolutely impossible in today's world, with the constant changing world, the constant changing needs, with the constant amount of new information, new research, new data coming out into the world, not to mention the massive amounts of historical information, data, theories, evidence, everything that exists in the world. It is impossible to know everything about a topic. So if you're sitting there thinking, I can't teach this course yet until I know everything, you're never going to get started, because you can't ever know everything. If you're sitting there thinking, oh, I'm just going to learn a bit more, again, you're never going to get there, and your course will never get out to the world because you already know so much about your topic. Well, knowing more, when are you going to stop? I mean, how much more? You could just keep knowing more for the rest of your life. And my advice is, just teach what you have now, what you can do right now, what you can teach right now. You can add new stuff later as you learn it. It's all about focusing on what you can teach right now. And I bet you have an absolute abundance of things that you can draw upon. It may be your formal experiences, your formal training, your formal industry, your formal area of expertise that you can teach, formal training and education, formal work experience. It could be informal stuff like your life journey, like your experiences. You may have a set of certain achievements that you've accomplished that other people haven't yet, and they would love to know how you've done it. And your course is going to be quite simply, this is how I got to where I am. This is what I did to get to where I am. It doesn't have to be like some major expert topic. It could be your life journey. It can be mistakes that you have made. Now, there is just as big a market for how not to do something as there is for how to do something. Now, as an example, my teachings on the biggest mistakes to avoid for online course creators is just as popular as my here are the things that you should do as a course creator. So you could look at mistakes you've made in your life, the things that have gone wrong, look at those and create a course on, the top 10 mistakes in this industry, or things you should never do in this industry. So there are so many different things that you can be teaching. So that's the first lesson, is look at the right things, not on what you can't do and what you don't know yet, but on what the things that you can do. Now, the next thing to remember is that imposter syndrome happens to every single one of us. It's always popping up. She always comes along, and even those of us who are the most accomplished, who look like we're the most confident, who look like that we could never ever be knocked, it happens to us too, okay? I'm speaking for myself here as well. So it's not just you that this is happening to. And also, it's not an illness and it's not a problem. It is a completely natural part of caring about what you do. It is a completely natural part of giving a monkeys about the people that you're serving. And therefore, it's important for you to know that as long as you care, it's impossible for you to get rid of imposter syndrome. Because if you're always thinking about, I want to do my best for people, I want to serve people to my absolute utmost of my ability, well then of course you're going to be worried about not doing the best thing for them, or not coming across as if you're doing the best thing for them. So the trick here is not about trying to eliminate imposter syndrome. I'm sorry, but if you care, she doesn't go away. What the trick is to make sure that you just take a deep breath and learn how to go on despite her. It's about learning how to push through that imposter syndrome, because she's going to hang around, and giving and sharing no matter what, regardless of the fact that imposter syndrome is there. The next thing that causes imposter syndrome for a lot of people is thinking that they have to be some world-renowned expert. So many course creators say to me, but I'm not an expert yet, but I'm not an influencer yet, but I haven't got a qualification in my thing yet, or I haven't taken that course yet, I haven't read that book yet. And there's this massive list of things that they say as to why they can't yet go out and create their course or share their knowledge with the world. And they kind of wrap it up in this because I'm not an expert thing. And that's when their imposter syndrome starts really smashing them in the head. So what I want you to really understand here is that you do not need to be a PhD qualified professor in the thing that you're going out to teach in order to have something valuable to share. You have something valuable to share. That is defined by, will it help somebody? Will it help somebody move forward? Will it help somebody see something differently? Will it help somebody get a certain outcome? Will it help somebody feel better about themselves? Will it give someone confidence? Will it give someone some kind of skill or trick that they didn't have before? Now, I am absolutely certain and can guarantee that every single person in the world has one of those things, i.e. something valuable to give to another person. And you don't need to wait until you've got a qualification or a degree or a PhD or something to give that thing to somebody, okay? You have something valuable to contribute to somebody else's life, and that thing doesn't have to stay hidden within you until you've got some kind of special qualification. You also don't need to have 10 billion social media followers in order for you to have something valuable to give to another person. You don't have to have some crazy life story like surviving an apocalypse whilst climbing Mount Everest naked, right? You don't have to have saved the life of 10,000 goats whilst they were all jumping off a cliff, right? You do not need to have any of these special things that you think you have to do in order to be able to give something valuable to other people. You already have it, just give it to them. Just give it to them as you are. As you are is completely enough to help somebody who is further behind you, who hasn't yet got that skill yet, who hasn't got through the things that you've got through, who hasn't got the achievement that you've got, who perhaps fell down when they made the same mistake as you did, but you've got resilient and got up and got past it and they haven't and are wondering how. All you have to do is give the thing that you are capable of giving right now. Please don't wait. Please don't see being an expert as having a showering of special accolades. It's not. Now, of course, if you do have special accolades or special stories or special qualifications, absolutely shout those out from the top of a mountain. Absolutely milk those to your advantage. That is simply using unfair advantages. That's what I call them. It's one of the ways I make myself stand out from the crowd is I say, why use other course creation specialists when you could use one who's qualified? Of course I'm going to milk that and use that to my advantage. But does it mean that the other guy who's not qualified can't teach you how to create an online course? Of course it doesn't. I'm just doing marketing, right? So if you're seeing all these other people saying, use me, I've got a book, I've got a #1 bestseller, I've got a qualification, I've got this magical story about how I competed against the odds, doesn't mean that you're not an expert because you don't have those things. It just means that they're marketing really, really well and fantastically using things to their unfair advantage. But it doesn't mean that you don't have something valuable to give. All right. Now, of a very similar vein to that point is stop comparing yourself to others in general. Full stop. I see a lot of time, particularly in the business space, is brand new people come into business, they're in their first year, and they start comparing themselves to guys who have been in business for 5, 10, 15 years. And they sit there and go, I can't do this, I can't share my expertise, I can't put a course out there until I've got, they look at their number of followers, or they look at their fancy website, or they look at their marketing materials or documentation. They look at basically everything that the other guy has taken 10 years to build, and they compare their year 1 to the other guy's year 10, and all of a sudden imposter syndrome comes along, goes punch, 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 and they're laying on the floor going, I can't do this, I am not worthy. Please don't compare your day 1, your week 1, your year 1, your year 3 to somebody else's year 5, year 10, year 20. It takes a really long time to get to those places, and comparing yourself to 10 years down that line further than you should be is obviously a great way to invite old imposter to come and kick you in the nuts. Okay, it's just don't do it to yourself. You have to start somewhere. You cannot get to that place, you cannot get to year 3, year 5, year 10 unless you just start putting yourself out into the world, unless you just get vulnerable and put something out there, get feedback, change it and iterate it based on the feedback, get someone singing your praises so that it gives you the confidence to do one more and keep moving forward. You cannot be like everybody else. You have to remember that you have your own natural way of doing what you do. You share your message in your own unique way. You can only discover the way that you share your message, and you can only connect with an audience if you just start putting it out there and letting that audience find you. So don't compare yourself to others. You are not like anyone else. You are completely unique, and it's down to you sharing and helping the world, putting your course out there for you to establish that place of your own that nobody else can compete with, because nobody else is like you. Okay, the next big thing about beating imposter syndrome is to remember that you do not have to be perfect to help somebody. You do not have to be a Hollywood production to help change somebody's life. You do not need to be perfectly made up and have a red carpet rolled out and flashing lights and an entourage and a marketing team to have something valuable to give to others. You simply need to share. You can pick up your mobile phone, go onto Facebook, press live stream. I don't care whether you're sat in your car park waiting for your coffee at the drive-thru in Macca's. You could change somebody's life by doing a live stream like that. That is what matters. That is what matters. Not how many pixels is your retina. People are not going to come there and watch videos of you to analyze you. They're coming to the video or to the course for the thing that you're going to teach, for the information that's going to be in it. I mean, if somebody was going to come along and they're saving your life, goodness forbid, you had an accident, you're not going to be sitting there judging the person who's saving your life because they've got a coffee stain down their shirt. You're going to be going, thanks for saving my life, all right? Now, this is what it's like when you're going out to be a course creator. You could be sharing information, knowledge, tips that help people succeed, move forward, get out of the black hole that they're in. It could change their life. It could save their life. Please don't think that the only way to do that is by being perfect. You need to share your thing. That's what changes somebody's life. Not how whiz bang your finished edited video was. Not whether your name flashed in at the bottom sideways and twinkled with a little ding at the end. That is not what changes people's lives. It is the results that your information gives to your people that is what will elevate you as an expert. That is what gets people saying, that person is amazing, that person's really helpful, that person's really genuine, that person's really authentic, that person is trustworthy, that person shares things that is actually helpful. That is all that matters, not the big fancy production. Now, of course, if you can afford that stuff, brilliant. I mean, that just adds hundreds of thousands and sprinkles and little starlights to your world. Great. That's where you want to get to eventually, but please don't let perfectionism and the perfect production be the thing that stops you starting. Every single expert out there in the world who has got somewhere in their life, who has the 7-figure businesses, who have great followings, got there because they didn't mind looking a bit rough and ready when they first began. They didn't mind that, their business began in mum's garage. They didn't mind that they're building their business from the spare bedroom in their house. They didn't care that it's being done on a mobile phone with tinny sound and no microphone when they first began. Look at the first version of anything. The first version of anything is a little bit rubbish, right? But you can only get to the great version of something if you do the rubbish first version first, all right? You have to have something to build upon. There must be a prototype from which that you can then go to market with, iterate and improve. Give yourself room for improvement and evolution later. You can polish up your videos later. You can redo them later. You can do a better version of them later. Like this little video I'm doing now was a crappy blog post on my blog once, and I've re-edited the blog post, I tweaked it and I changed it. Guess what I did then? I turned it into a book. Right now I've tweaked it again and I'm making a video with it. The great thing about going online and putting your online courses out to the world is that it is never there in stone. It's not going out in blood. It's never going to be there forever. You can keep changing and iterating and improving as you go along all the time. So please don't worry about perfection. Improvement, evolution comes only with time. So just put something out there, no matter what. Something is better than nothing every single time. Imposter syndrome definitely comes along when we are spending too much time thinking about ourselves. Imposter syndrome comes when you're thinking about me. How do I look? How do I sound? How am I coming across? Right, one of the things that we need to do here to get rid of imposter syndrome is to remind ourselves that we are thinking too much about ourselves and that our students do not care about us. I'm sorry, they only care about themselves. Now that might sound like we're making people sound really, really selfish. And I'm not saying everyone's selfish and only cares about themselves, but they do. Really, they're not coming to your course to look at you. They don't care about how flat your hair is. You do not need to sit there in your video doing this. They don't care about the crease on your shirt. They don't care if you've got yesterday's dinner stuck between your teeth, right? They're not coming to your video to look at that. They're coming to your video for the content that's in it. It's all about them. So all you need to do is focus on sharing your lessons with them. All you need to do is focus on giving them content that's helping them grow. You only need to focus on how can I share something that is going to help the person who is watching this succeed? You know, you don't have to worry about everything else. Some people become so fixated on getting their language and their wording right that they obsess for hours recording the same video over and over and over again and reading it from a script and sounding robotic because they worry about, will people think if I sound okay? You know the thing you're sharing. You do. The person is just coming to you to hear you say it. So just say it. Don't worry about you. It's not about you. They don't care about you. They don't care about how you look. They don't care about how you sound. They don't care about your production. They just care that they are going to get something from you that's going to help them. So just take yourself and your eyeballs off of you and remember who you're talking to. Remember that you are talking to people who have not yet got where you've got, that don't yet know what you know, and you're just sharing it with those people. It's all about them. Now, my final tip, as I said, we can't completely get rid of imposter syndrome, but we can find ways to dissolve her slightly, hide her away under a rock, close the door for a while. And one of the best ways to kill imposter syndrome is with thanks. Now, when people start thanking you for your content, when people start saying those magical life-changing words for you, to you, of you have changed my life. Your course helped my business. Your course has helped me do this. Your course helped me get this particular result. When that thanks comes, your confidence and your self-esteem absolutely skyrockets. There is nothing better for your confidence, your self-esteem, your self-efficacy than people thanking you for the content that you've put out to the world. So of course, the only way to get that boost in self-esteem, confidence, and kill the imposter syndrome is to just put it out there, to just start sharing, because you will be amazed. No matter what you think of yourself, no matter how worried you are about your production, no matter how worried you are about the way you presented it or whatever, there will be people whose lives will be changed by what you have to say. There are over 7 billion people on planet Earth. I guarantee you there's at least 1 or 2 out there who are going to come back and watch your content and go, thank you so much for sharing that. That was so helpful. That was so useful. I'm so glad I found it. So look, you've just got to take that big deep breath. You've just got to do it. Do it. Stop worrying. Stop it. Okay? Just stop worrying. Put that imposter aside and go out there, because you might not just change somebody's life. You might actually save it too. So good luck. Be brave, be strong, and go out there and share with the world what you were born to share, because there are people out there waiting for you. So good luck and see you there.